Okay, now let us start with the first track for today on digital reinvention in business. Our speaker this morning was named President and Country General Manager of IBM Philippines in July 2018, with the responsibility of growing and leading the company's operations, including sales and distribution, and also assuming control over fully owned subsidiaries, IBM Solutions Delivery, and IBM Business Services that offer global delivery services. As organizations reinvent themselves to outperform competition, she is leading the Philippine team to help clients, partners, and other stakeholders apply IBM's leading AI or cognitive solutions, cloud platform, and industry capabilities. She is the first homegrown Filipina leader for IBM Philippines, where she has had a remarkable 26-year track record of pioneering innovations and driving business results. From being a systems engineer to her most recent role as now the country leader for enterprise sales, she has built her expertise in different areas that include IT, infrastructure design and implementation, project management and consulting, technical support, marketing, business development, and sales. Since joining IBM in 1992, our speaker had seen her career progress to country and regional leadership roles in various areas of the business, including services, software solutions, and sales. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to give you our next speaker this morning, Miss Aileen Judan-Jiao, as she talks about IBM, a story of continuous transformation.
Get this. Good morning, everybody. I'm very pleased that Dr. Tito Ortiz came before me, so you have a great example. So I think all of today is really giving you an idea of, at least for the morning, the digital reinvention. Before I talk about any theory here, it's very important for everyone to understand also how we as IBM went through this kind of a journey for reinvention. So before I go on the next 10 minutes, if I may just play a very short video so you know IBM in the past, fast forward to today. Shall we?
Yeah, wait for me, girl, wait for me. Wait for me, girl, wait for me. Wait for me, world, wait for me. Wait for me, world, wait for me. Wait for me. They keep up till the sun goes down. Come on. Wait for me, butterfly, wait for me. I'm only trying to set you free. Wait for me, problems, wait for me. I'm only human, so let me be. Let me be.
I hope it gives you an idea how we have also changed ourselves, right? For those who are coming from 7 decades of, multiple generations ago, yes, that's how we started. We started with all the typewriters and so on. So in the Philippines, the oldest product I think we have here is the clock that you still see running in the Senate. That's the IBM clock. So I want to show you this because even very deliberately for IBM, when we were still going through the tabulators and the typewriters, even our logos deliberately changed. Fast forward to that on your rightmost, IBM, that's probably the one that stayed on the longest. But really, today, in the era of cloud and cognitive, Dr. Tito talk about the culture, right? Today, the talent is so important. This one also changed for us, okay? So how did this change? Even the colors are very deliberate. I'm not here to stay for another 10 more minutes over time, but each of the colors are really meaning something for us. In the age where we want to value the talent, this really stood for us how we encourage the LGBTQ plus community. So this month actually culminates the end of the Pride year. Okay, this is Pride Month for us. And we really wanted to harness the power of diversity and inclusion in IBM. So that, again, also deliberately changed. If you also look from a financial perspective, back in the 60s, practically every dollar that IBM earned was around hardware, okay? This was the big age of the mainframe era. We were the only game in town. You don't have cloud like you can, go to Azure today or go to Google Cloud or, there was no such thing. There was practically only IBM. And again, we were the game in town for hardware. Many of our competitors have gone out of business for some time. That was really the black part that you see there. Don't worry if you're visually impaired at the back. But now, fast forward to today, that has really become a minority portion of our business. Less than 20% of our business today is just in this space. It's still systems, it's still cognitive, it's still powered by artificial intelligence. But a big chunk, the gray and the yellow area, is really now within the cloud and the cognitive platform powered by software and services. Practically half of our business today is now in all these new technologies. Every dollar we earn. So it's completely shifted, okay? So you can imagine the kind of shift that we had to go through as a company through all these decades. I joined back in the early 90s as a systems engineer. I was the first batch of competitive hires in IBM. They never hired from outside. You were always getting through the ranks from inside. But then I knew, how it was so important for them to get the infusion of new talent from outside. About 2 years after I joined, it was the time that IBM practically almost got out of the business, okay? So the mainframe was a near death, okay, at that time. But then IBM also, we transformed ourselves, again, into the cusp of all of this. So like Dr. Tito was talking about earlier, sometimes the reinvention within yourself as a company is driven by a crisis. We had that crisis at the time. But there were other times where we started to acquire companies, but not because we were in crisis, but because we needed to do very, very aggressive growth like you don't imagine. It's not by the percentage numbers, it's by the multiple times. So this, again, is just a very simple financial view of how we did our transformation. So just another example. Go to the next, please. Okay? So we continue to make sure that this reinvention is right at the core of what we do. In fact, one of our practices, we say restlessly reinvent. It's not about you reinventing. You must continue to reinvent restlessly. Okay? So we continue to grow our business, okay, as well as the patents. It's so important to not just have, a great idea, but to do it for 26 consecutive years. The second one is, really far second for us. We continue to invest, of course, in R&D across the entire organization, from talent to the technologies, and again, sharing it with others. And of course, you still have some distinguished IBMers winning the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm also very, very proud to say that what you see here, there in the patent list, you also have a Filipino who earned his patent this year, first Filipino, and is working here in the Philippines. So all of this is now what we have in our backyard. It's no longer a dream. It's already right here in the Philippines. Many of the examples you showed, Union Bank clearly one of them, all of this is already bringing to bear what we can do with all these new technologies. Next one, please. What is this? You know this game? Okay. Yeah, that's Jeopardy. So usually, there you compete as people, okay? One of the games we competed, that was IBM in the middle. We call him Watson. Watson was named after our founder, Thomas Watson Sr., and that was the birth about what? I think it was 2011 when we started this, okay? That was the coming out of Watson. It was the first time we tested artificial intelligence in action. It was just a game. But what was the significance of all this? It was not to just compete. By the way, Watson won, okay, against the human competitors at this time. What was the importance at this time? For us, when you want to compete, even when you're small, a quiz bee or anything, you have to read everything. And you hope to God that you remember what you read, and you comprehend what you read. And by the way, you can do all the correlation, and you can reason, and you can respond very quickly. Right? It's very difficult thing to master. The first time, Watson won. Okay? So, again, very good. When we competed, we lost. Okay? We lost. When we try again, we tried in the chess game. Okay? In the chess game, because it was tactical, okay, and the one after this, because it had to understand natural language. So for some of you who are very new to AI, there is a concept called natural language processing. That means even for chatbots, you don't do and type Q&A, question and answer, and hope that it's in 100 questions that was actually in the database. So in natural language, you can ask a natural English question, and it will understand what you ask, right? Because Watson was not taught all of that, because you still have to teach, right? So it did lose the game. However, fast forward to today, so it was our very first experience with that. We wanted to test that we have Watson ingest many of the documents, make it understand, have doctors teach it. Today, it knows many different industries, okay? We moved to the healthcare industry. Watson was taught by oncologists from Memorial Sloan Kettering about a year after that to find solutions for cancer, which ones are treatment plans, etc. You now have all across the different industries and the different applications of Watson to what it is today. I want to also stress that as we reinvent this in the use of AI, it's so important that we now use it for real business case. We need AI to be trusted. So AI to be trusted needs to be evidence-based. It needs to tell you where exactly was the source of insights that it gives you. So all of this, including I think the latest one, or one of the latest ones, was the debater, so that it knows how to reason. The intent is not to replace the human being, but the intent is to augment our intelligence, so you train it with the higher value things, and you will find and create new jobs for the future. So for us, we started to go to these new industries. IBM, we used to just make our money just from banking industry. But today is no longer about just one industry. It's going to be about the ecosystem. So next one, please. So we have this concept called the chapter 2, okay? So as we shift the business model for us, going from just pure hardware business and into cloud and cognitive, doing real applications, we thought that chapter 1 for us in our journey for the cloud journey here and use of AI was all about experimentation. Okay, let me try this. Let me do dev test on the cloud. Let me try if it works, just like the Jeopardy case, right? It was just a game. But now you want to do real stuff. If I want to do real transactions, secure to the core, if I want to do an ecosystem of partners, and I want them to do live transactions, if I do one time, I want them to do 1,000 more times, right? That's chapter 2 for us. We want it mission critical. We want all of you in this room and many of our friends in the industry to go to chapter 2. Let's use these technologies for real stuff, right? Mission critical workloads. And today, you have the benefit of having a lot of these technologies come into play. In IBM, we are lucky because we have it in our backyard and we use it again for this kind of journey as we move forward. So we have a point of view in this case. So, next one, please. So as we shift to that, okay, you have the example, so Dr. Tito Ortiz, when you have the bottom part. So many of the organizations, we try to do digital transformation from inside out. What it means is that we try to use technologies, we look at ourselves, we transform ourselves from the inside as an organization to do customer-centric, or we think about the customer and to serve them. But the other point of view is also that you need to look at the market landscape and view it from the outside in, okay? Because today, you will have, that is the demand for true digital reinvention. It's not just to transform ourselves. How do you reinvent the business model? Why can't I have banks that, let's say, if I see in the future, my 1,000 next branches will no longer have like a physical space. It's just in the web. It's virtual. That's a new business model. I can create my next $1 billion revenue as a transport company, but there will absolutely be no cars. It will just be paying drivers. I don't know. You know, something like that, right? So you gotta look at the different customer expectations. We say that in the age of cloud now, the customer has very, very little tolerance. So what you end up with is that people tending to now create not a company, but the intent of a platform. So you think, what is the business platform you want to be, right? And that's what you build your company around. So it's no longer about competitors. We do not compete. We should not be competing anymore about company A, B, and C. It's about us, all of us, be in the ecosystem because exactly each one has good things to bring to the table. So the question is, how do you draw the line, right? So what's nice is, again, you have all the benefit of all the new technologies now really coming into play. Then you build the real cognitive enterprise, okay? So that is our point of view. And now, yes, I end with, next chart, please. This is an example, just one example. So this is just one example, a company in India. I love this example because maybe we can just quickly relate. This is State Bank of India, is one great example where in Tagalog, I'll just explain it. It used to be known as the company of the lolos and the lolas, okay? It became very irrelevant because no one wants to bank with it anymore because you don't want to be identified, you know, for the younger generation. So what it did was really come and look inside out, but think about how do you reinvent the business model. Today, you can now be the single point of contact, you know, it means you're one and only. Okay? So they do not even advertise as themselves. They only advertise Yono. You can look it up. And you can buy from Amazon, your orders. You can buy your sofa. You can do transactions. You can do everything. But that's just your app. And they make money, the ecosystem of partners, through that. And, we've enabled them to do that. So from a very, very legacy, the same owners are there. They still own the company. But it's really the business that got reinvented. So I end with that because I started with an IBM example, and then you end up with somebody else, right? But having the ecosystem. So we really say, I end up with this quote from our founder. We pioneer. So yesterday we pioneered for today, and then we are pioneering for tomorrow. So with that, I encourage everybody, let's all be a good ecosystem of partners here. Let's not be afraid of technology. If we, IBM, can reinvent ourselves, we're here 108 years. In the Philippines, we've been here 82 years. Surely, there's going to be a very good chance for all of us to get into this journey for digital reinvention. Have a great morning, everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Yao.